If you look in the past, you'll see that a lot of the old ways are all around control and fear. Fear has been a really easy way for people to be manipulated. But the thing of it is, all that's changing. Instead of looking at all that's going to happen or that should happen by this date or that date and getting bound up into that fear perspective, because if it doesn't happen, then people get fearful. And rather than get bound up in that fearful perspective, I thought I would just take a minute and look at it from a totally different angle and go, well, what if, I'm just saying what if here, what if you looked at the whole energy of the earth? And you looked at how love can actually influence a lot more than you think, and that you actually have the power in your own love to affect change. So that's what this video is about. I got some cool stuff to show you, some video clips and everything. I really think you'll like it. And we're going to start off with a great quote all about, just let your love flow. When it's younger, the elephant will actually be tied up to a post and it can't go anywhere because it's tied up to that post. As it grows older, it comes to think that it really can't go anywhere when it's tied up to the post. But the thing of it is, when it gets older, it does have the strength to break the post and be free at any time. It's really mental slavery at that point. It's conditioning and a bit of conditioned mental slavery. So I think we're in that same boat, meaning we've had all this fear driven into us from when we were younger, from our history. Everything has driven towards this fear perspective. And we are actually the millions that are controlled by only a few. And those chains of control, conditioning, and fear can be broken at any time.
For them to keep the lock and control over the masses, now there's 7.7 billion people on Earth. In order to control that many people, you have to be able to deceive, you have to be able to suppress, you have to be able to oppress. And to do that, you have to make up a lot of crazy rules that may be crazy for us, but for them makes a lot of logical sense. And if we were to find out the secrets to the way that they've set up this system, and we were to break through this matrix, we literally would collapse their system and rob them of their power, and we would regain our full power back, and they don't want that to happen.
And that's really what they're afraid of. Now, the thing of it is, they could get away with all this. But one thing happened, and that's Mr. T. Mr. T is coming along, and through his process, he's forced them to actually speed up everything they wanted to do. See, when obviously there's a whole frog thing, right? When a frog gets into a pot and it slowly heats up, the frog doesn't try to escape until it's too late. And that's the same thing that we've been experiencing, is this slow decay of our Constitution, our Republic, everything that we believe in has been slowly eroded away. And it's in its place has been all these control mechanisms, especially with technology. And the thing of it is, we wouldn't notice all that. A lot of us remain asleep, except for the conspiracy theorists who come out and try to show us a thing here or there, and then we might laugh and say, yeah, right, whatever. But with the speeding up of their timeline, the heat has turned up. A lot of us have actually waken up to all the stuff that's going on. And in the process of waking up, we're actually able to do something.
Knowledge asymmetries the elite bow tie wearing crowd has taken advantage of for years. The inside baseball game up on DC, they know better than us, so they use it to screw us. The stock game, they've known better than us for years. The rules and regulatory game, they've known better than us. They've used it against us. They, the bow tie class, they have used knowledge asymmetries, knowledge they had and acquired, in some cases illicitly, against us forever. And now, when a little guy, Deep, goes and just gets knowledge himself, legally, by the way, from all I know, just looks at the GameStop float, looks at the short positions, looks at GameStop's cash, and uses it against the big guys, and engages in this initiative that starts a popular revolt against short sellers, Wall Street and everyone goes crazy. Facebook is now shutting down groups that discuss the GameStop stock. When the subreddit was shut down, one of the server companies pulled the server. The SEC's investigating. I'm hearing federal law enforcement's involved. The Biden administration is following it. Following what? Following what? Following the fact that some Joe average investor on Reddit figured out that the big guys were really stupid and used his knowledge to win in a game they've been using against us forever. And all of a sudden, this is a national scandal?
And part of that, I think, is through vibrational energy, meaning our love. Now, check out this clip from Michael Jacob. He's a badass former Navy SEAL, and he talks about, well, I'll let you hear it from his perspective.
As a remote influencer, starting from that point, where I would send out love, energy to stop attacks. So it happened one time, like I talked in my book, The Intuitive Warrior. Here's another new ability, remote viewing, now remote influencer. with the love ability that I got from Archangel Michael. Eventually, I got it to the point where I would imagine the energy going into the ground and creating solidity where it would stay there when I would leave. That would be good for like a few weeks. Eventually, I got to the point where I would connect with other consciousness, which is something that now is very important, I believe, that we connect as groups with our consciousness and this love energy. So when I did that and I would leave, there's no attacks. And in some of those cities like Lahore, there's not been attacked since. So the love energy vibration that I push, that I talk about in all my work, super, super valuable in this time frame.
So that's the love perspective. You may be in a different camp on your perspective on that. Thousands of monks have meditated all at the same time, actually statistically reduced crime and many other things that have happened. So our vibrational energy is something that can affect the planet as a whole. When you look at our past and you bypass some of the regular information that people receive about it, you realize that we have a history, a very rich history that goes well beyond any of our understandings. And a lot of this has to do with how we were created, why we were created, and what we're able to do. It gets into DNA, it gets into our vibration with the universe, our vibration with each other as a whole. All this lends to an understanding of us being creators ourselves. However deep you go with that, one of the core tenets of this is that not only what you create, but how you create it. Even if you look at some basic things like making food, how you create that food, the energy that you put into it, is reflective in the taste and how it goes into your body. Because food isn't just a sustenance, it's actual information for your cells. How that information is influenced is important. And some of the basic studies on water, which look at how vibrations affect water, and we are a huge percentage of water, so our cells are affected by vibrations, and energy is that vibration. However you want to think of it, and even if you don't and you end up turning this off, does not matter. It's still there. When you're creating content, I think it's important to put yourself into a state which allows for a greater positivity, which allows for a greater connection to us as each other as a whole. It's not just content that we're receiving through our ears and eyes. It's actual information that affects our cells on a molecular level. And when you realize that, you'll create content that's uplifting, that's important, and that has meaning and can help others transcend some of the situations we're going through as a collective species. Now, when you look at it that way, it's important not just to relay information, to say, okay, this or that is happening, but actually come across and really help each other come to an understanding that's greater than any one of us individually. And when you do that, I think the content that you create can have greater resonance and can actually have greater meaning, and also can help more people. So when you're sitting down to create your content, have that in mind. Put yourself into a state which is more positive so that you can look at things a little differently than you would if you just said, I'm just going to be like the nightly news and report what's there. Or I want to be like these people I've seen on TV. You don't. You don't want to be like any of those. You want to have your personality, and you want to have an energy of vibration that's positive for everyone. So I think it's important as we go on and try to influence and be the media on a level that affects change. It's important that we have that state of love, that state of vibrational energy, that state of being that transcends all of us and allows us collectively to make it to the next level, so to speak, make it to several levels above there. We've been held down so much as a species that it's our time now to grow beyond, well beyond where we've been before. So instead of thinking next level, we're thinking several levels above, because in fact, we should be much more advanced than we are right now. I'm hoping this leaves you with a bit of uplifting thought about what's possible, not just to create content and connect the dots, but affect change on a cellular level, on a level that most people won't recognize, but you do. And that's important. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like. Thanks a lot for listening, and remember, where we go one, we go all.